Sorry. Dark now.
Good afternoon. Quality matter of CP 2024-29, Kall Limited and National Insurance Property Development Company Limited.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can the parties confirm that they're hearing me clearly?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon.
Start
Good
dancing.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, I am.
Yes. We are prepared.
Yes, please. So before we proceed, let's take the appearances. Could I have the representative of the applicant? May I have the names, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. I, Kall Singh, appear on behalf of the applicant in this matter. I appear with Mr. Stefan Ramkisoon, and representative of the company is Ms. Karuna Maraj. She is to the right of Mr. Ramkisoon.
Yes, please.
Just to let you know, Madam Chair, I do have an associate attorney with us, Ms. Johanna Richards. She's to my left. She's just assisting me with note taking.
Yes, please. Thank you. Do you represent the respondent?
Yes, Madam Chair. Should it please you, Derek Baliram? I'm instructed by Ms. Kall. The name Procurement Officer of NIPDEC, Mr. Curtis Doyle, is to my left, behind me.
Thank you. Before we proceed, I'd like to go over the ground rules for today's hearing. Please ensure that your microphones are muted unless you are addressing the panel. Remember to unmute your microphone when you would like to address the panel and speak directly into the microphone. Avoid interrupting any speaker. You can use the raise hand emoji or icon, or draw the attention of the panel by raising your hand. Please ensure that you are clearly visible at all times within reasonable distance from the camera. You all are to be aware that witnesses should not hear the evidence of other witnesses. So while the witnesses are allowed, or now we would let them leave until it is their time to give their evidence. The parties and the witnesses, if the witnesses in particular are in a different room, they're required to show the panel the room so that we can see that there are no other parties in the room with the witnesses at the time that they're giving evidence. There should be no unauthorized recording of the proceedings. If the party requires a copy of the proceedings, they can obtain it by filing the prescribed Form 16 at the office to receive the transcript. In the event that we lose connection in any way of the electronic proceedings, representatives must notify the hearing secretary by calling 627-4677 extension 1161. This was the number I would have provided on the last occasion. And as soon as practicable, email challenge@opr.org.tt with the case reference number in the subject line. And this email, like all other emails, should be copied to all the parties in the proceedings. With that being said, let us commence today's proceedings, which will take place pursuant to Part 10 of the hearing rules and Part 5 of the challenge proceeding regulations. Before we proceed, any preliminary matters that either side wishes to raise?
Yes, Madam Chair. Firstly,
Yes, Mr. Free.
I hope you don't mind if I stand when I address or cross-examine, as I have my document set up here.
Mr. Takla, before we proceed, I omitted to introduce the panel.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes. Before we proceed, I am Sparkle Kirk-Selman. I am the panel chair for this afternoon. With me is Curtis, Lee G, and David Challery. My apologies. You can proceed, Mr. Takla.
Just to let you know, our witness is to my right. You may not see him in this camera, but he's waiting to be let in on a separate camera, just in accordance with usually how we do it in the High Court, so that you have a clear view of him when he's giving evidence. But he's just all right. So if that is permissible when he gives evidence, that is fine. And as long as you don't mind that I stand when I address or ask questions in accordance with the way I've been doing it for the last however long. So those are my opening remarks. Would the tribunal require an opening statement?
It is not necessary, but if you would like to, you can make an opening statement. But before we proceed with that, let me find out from from the respondent if there are any preliminary matters.
Not this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Right. So the applicant is invited to begin its presentation.
Yeah, Madam Chair, could the witness be let in on his device? That is Mr. Whose name is on the line?
No, Nigel. And his name.
Dibu?
Mr. Nigel, what's the last name? Nigel Dibu, yes.
Okay, before we proceed with Mr. Dibu, let me just confirm the witnesses that are here today, in fact. So we have Mr. Dibu.
Yes.
And for the respondent, do you have Mr. Akash Mohan and Karen Bowen?
Yes, Madam Chair, they are both out of the room and out of hearing.
Great. So we will start with Mr. Dibu.
Madam Chair, short opening remarks, just to contextualize this case. So my opening statement is this, and I don't intend to be lengthy. This is a case which involves and directly strikes at the heart of the core tenets of the Procurement Act. It is a case that will involve transparency, value for money, and I say good administration, which is also incorporated into the Act. At the end of the day, what I'm going to ask the tribunal to look at is to look at the solicitation documents in this matter, look carefully at the solicitation documents, and apply the test which I have submitted in my preliminary arguments. Would a reasonably well-informed tenderer, looking at these solicitation documents, be required to provide the level of detail or level of further particulars, I would say, at this stage? And should, more importantly, should a tenderer who had submitted a bid almost $2 million less than the contractor that was eventually awarded the matter, should he be disqualified because he did not comply with some of the technical aspects? And I say comply, not to mean that we didn't meet it, but that we may not have described it in the way in which the procuring entity may have had in mind. Madam Chair, you would know that language is a very imprecise thing. We try at all times to make it precise, but language stated on a document can be interpreted in different ways. And that is why you should strive to have sufficient clarity in your documents. When we look at these solicitation documents, you will see that they are very broad and vague criteria. And therefore, the contractors were asked to look at it, make a judgment in their professional experience, and put forward their documents. It was, of course, open to the procuring entity to then ask for clarification, not to add anything new to the documents, but to look at what is there and ask for clarification as to whether A, what they required were there in some other form, or B, whether or not further information could have been provided. That would not have materially altered the bid. And when you come to look at the case law, that is precisely what the principle of proportionality talks about. Now, not to get into the minutiae of the law, proportionality is included in the European procurement setup and in the English procurement setup. But in our act, we use the word fairness. And fairness, as we all know, includes natural justice. So that if you had a concern that you were going to strike me out in relation to deprive me of property and the chance to get a contract, then you should have consulted me or given me an opportunity to be heard. And our act specifically includes the word fairness. So that is where I would go there. And I would end by saying that this is a good opportunity to send a message to procuring entities that they ought not to use vague, nebulous criteria in their procuring documents, because the danger is this, that you could defeat the very purpose of the Procurement Act. I can put very broad language, ascribe high points to technical competence, which was done in this case, 48 points, and then decide to pass out and award whichever contractor I want to get the contract by using all manner of sub-criteria and sub-criteria in an effort to shift the contract a certain way. I'm not saying it happened in this case, but that is why the principle of transparency is there. And the law and the case law I will cite will show that where you have criteria and sub-criteria, it ought to be stated with a certain specificity. And that is essentially where this case is. We're not here to create any, we work well with NIPCO. I want to say that on behalf of the company, NIPDEC, I apologize. We work well with NIPCO too, but we work well with NIPDEC. We do that often. This is not here to attack any public authority. We want to continue to have a partnership to build this country. I say that on behalf of the client. So this is not here to cause, as we would say, bacchanal. This is here to test a provision of law and to test these contract documents, because we feel that it was an unfair and an unjust award in our position. And of course, when we come to the relief, we will make submissions on that. Those are my opening statements, Madam Chair.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Valsayn. Will you be relying on your witness statement? Yes.
Yes, we will rely on the witness statement, and I could tender it formally if that is the procedure that you wish to adopt.
Not required, but the witness will have to take the oath. So
yes.
The witness, can you please listen for the oath?
Good afternoon, Mr. Debu.
Good afternoon.
Please repeat after me. I. Please state your name.
Nigel Debu.
Do solemnly, sincerely, and truly affirm.
Do solemnly, sincerely, and truly what? Affirm.
That the evidence I shall give to the hearing panel.
That the evidence I shall give to the panel.
The hearing panel.
Sorry?
The hearing panel.
The hearing panel.
In this case.
In this case.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Mr. Debu, you have a witness statement in this matter?
Yes.
And the contents are true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
That is correct, yes.
My friend, Mr. Baliram, he has some questions for you. Just answer clearly and loudly so that the tribunal can follow and Mr. Baliram can follow.
Okay.
Madam Chair, would you leave?
Yes, please, Mr. Baliram. The witness is yours for cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Mr. Debu.
Afternoon.
Mr. Debu, I see in your witness statement, you attest that you've been a project manager for the last 23 years.
Yes.
That is correct?
That's correct.
And a civil engineer for the past 18 years.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
You have a considerable amount of experience in the construction industry.
Yes, I do.
Right. And somebody with this level of experience, 23 years, you will be well versed in all aspects of the civil engineering industry, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Debu, when the respondent sent out this RFP, did you examine it?
I did.
And would you have examined the valuation criteria?
Yes.
Right. And you would have no doubt noticed that the technical approach and methodology was ascribed the highest amount of points in this evaluation criteria?
That is correct, yes.
Mr. Debo, do you have that RFP in front of you?
No.
Madam Chair, if the witness could be shown, I think it's page 41 of our Form 9 as it relates to the RFP.
Yes. One moment. Let us get it up on the screen. Page 41.
41 of our Form 9.
Yes.
Mr. Debo, are you able to see that on your screen?
Yes, yes.
So, Mr. Debo, at 3.1, under the rubric Technical Approach and Methodology, could you tell me what that reads?
You want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Detailed technical approach, methodology, and work plan that explains the work activities in the construction of the bridge, retaining wall and the associated drainage and ancillary works in the required phases, in keeping with the details of the submitted specifications.
Mr. Debo, did anything in that evaluation criteria speak to a general approach, a general methodology, or a general work plan? Do you see that appearing there anywhere?
No.
Mr. Debo, as an experienced engineer, having read that a detailed technical approach and methodology was required, right? What would you have understood would be the requirements of a tender to address those aspects?
Specifically, it would be site-specific, job-specific details of the work.
Right. And Mr. Debo, in that RFP package, you would have been provided with technical drawings as well.
Correct.
You would have been provided with designs,
Yes.
and you would have been provided with bills of quantities.
Correct, yes.
Mr. Debo, having taken those documents together, all together, and having read what the evaluation criteria would have spelled out, did you understand what was required to formulate the bid?
Yes.
Good. And you would agree with me that a detailed technical approach would allow evaluators to understand that you, as the applicant, is capable of performing or further understanding and performing the works as set out in your bid, correct?
Correct.
So, Mr. Debo, you're an experienced engineer, been in this industry a long time. In the construction industry, when an RFP is sent out, is there usually a site visit that follows?
Yes.
And what do you understand a site visit to entail as an engineer?
A site visit is to allow the tenderers to view the site so that their documentation and their submissions would be site-specific.
Very good. And Mr. Debo, at these site visits, I'm sure you've attended many. Are you also allowed to ask questions?
Yes, you are.
In this instance, Mr. Debo, you would not have attended the site visit.
No.
Okay. A representative of the company, Ms. Valsayn, would have attended?
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware if your representative ask any questions at this site visit?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay. But following the site visit, there would have been certain clarifications provided by the project engineer, correct?
Correct, yes.
And these related to very specific items of the project. Correct?
Yes,
And these minutes were subsequently distributed to you as one of the potential bidders as well.
correct.
Correct. Did you at any point in time write to the project engineer and say those meetings were false? Those minutes were false?
No, I did not.
It's because the minutes accurately reflected what was discussed at the site meeting, correct?
Well, I'm going to object there. My friend already established in cross-examination Mr. Boog was not there. So it's an unfair question to ask him if he could verify what was there. If the document emanates from the company, then it should stand by its documents, right? How is he going to answer that? He has already said he was not there. So that's an unfair question.
Madam Chair, I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is. Because at paragraphs 5 and 6 of Mr. DeBoo's witness statement, he attested the meetings not being an accurate reflection. So,
The minutes?
correct, Ms. Melody, paragraph 5 and 6 of his witness statement.
One minute. Can you repeat the question?
The question, Mr. DeBoo, after you received the distribution of the minutes by the project engineer, you never wrote to the project engineer indicating that those minutes were false.
That was the question.
Right, so Mr. Deepu don't answer yet. So, Mr.
Yeah. You would,
Mr.
I have no
Tappan.
objection. If that is the question, I have no objection.
Okay.
That is not, I have no objection to that question.
The second part of the question, Madam Chair.
Let me hear the second part.
So having not objected to the minutes, you accept that the minutes are accurate.
That is the question that was asked previously, but if that is the question formulated, then I have no objection.
Okay, then.
That is the question.
Yes, you could proceed to answer that question now, Mr. Deepu.
Repeat the question again.
Having not written to the project engineer saying the minutes are false, do you accept that the minutes that were distributed to you are accurate?
I don't see how I can say that.
But you never objected to it, right?
No, I didn't object to it.
Okay. So, Mr. Deepu, in preparing your bid submission in response to this RFP, who would have prepared this bid submission?
I did.
And you prepared all aspects of it?
No, not all. Methodology, the schedule, the cost.
Could you please repeat that?
The methodology, the project schedule, costing, the equipment, the QA/QC, those the technical aspect of it. We have someone else who would have done the HSE issues, and then an admin person would have done all the pattern and IS and things like that.
Right. And Mr. Deepu, in your proposal, you would have taken into account what was requested in the RFP and what was highlighted in the minutes of the meeting as well, correct?
Correct.
Right. And Mr. Deepu, there would have been an addendum issued. Did you receive that?
Yes.
Right. And of course, you would have factored that into account as well.
Correct.
Right. In the preparation of your bid, Did you at any one point in time seek clarification
No,
from the respondent?
no,
So you understood exactly what was required by the RFP.
I understood my interpretation of it, yes.
Right. And did your interpretation align with a detailed technical approach and methodology?
Yes,
Good. Mr. Dibu, in your submission, right, at page 205 of your Form 8, Madam Chair, if the witness could be shown 205, I know these are voluminous documents.
Yes, one moment. Five of the Form 8. Not the trial one.
205. That is correct, Madam Chair. 205 of the Form 8. If we could go down to the bottom of that page. Mr. Dibu, do you see what your proposal ends at? That note?
yes.
Would you like to read that for the panel's consideration?
Note. Note. Items above to be used as guidelines for construction and in no way should be viewed as confirmation as to the method of construction.
Right. Mr. Dibu, in your 23 years of experience in the construction industry, do you submit in response to an RFP guidelines for construction?
A methodology are guidelines for construction in terms of how you're going to do the job.
Mr. Dibu, I'm looking at what your proposal says, right? Items above are to be used as guidelines for construction and
Right.
no way should be viewed as confirmation as to the method,
Right.
right? In your 23 years experience as an engineer, do you submit guidelines in response to an RFP?
I'm not understanding your question.
Okay. Mr. Dibu, let's take that sentence that your note, right? Let's read the first half of it.
Madam Chair, with respect, if I may, I wish to
Yes,
object.
Mr. Tapman.
Yes,
What is the objection?
I wish to object here. What is the relevance of this question? And I say so for this. My friends on the other side had almost 4 opportunities to raise their concerns or to particularize what were their issues, what were their issues in relation to our tender and why were disqualified. They had a letter, they had a second letter, they had a defense, and they had a witness statement. This document, this statement that Mr. Baliram is now pointing to is mentioned in none. So they cannot change their case here today to give this statement at the bottom of a tender some kind of relevance, which it obviously does not. This was not part of the reasons for the rejection of the tender. So why is this relevant? Is Mr. Baliram now sitting in a new evaluation committee? Of course not. They have to be held to what they have said in their reply, which is a statutory document, in their letters to response, which is a contractual term, meaning they have to particularize their reasons. And I can assure you, when you examine all the documents, there is no criticism about this statement, no talk about, no conversation or particularization that methodology is somehow different, a guideline, and getting into the minutiae of language here. So I see no relevance at all to this line of question, with all due respect.
Thank you, Mr. Tapman. Could I hear you, Mr. Baliram?
Yes, Madam Chair. I could understand my friend's concerns. However, as we both agreed, the issue he raised here is that this RFP was too vague. I am soliciting from this witness his understanding and what he proposed. it goes directly to the issue the panel has to consider and the issue that is involved in this matter here of whether this solicitation document was vague, whether it required sufficient clarity, or whether we should have sought more clarification as the case may be. But this goes directly to the issue in question.
Short reply, Madam Chair. No, it does not. What we are here to look at, and our case is that we were not fairly assessed by a panel of evaluators. The evaluators have set out in witness statement letters and in a reply what were their concerns in relation to the tender. This statement Mr. Valsayn is reading is not from his solicitation documents, it's from our tender. And nowhere do any of the assessors, the primary assessors, say that they construed this statement as anything which caused them issues. So what is the relevance of now finding a statement here to tax Mr. Dugu about? It is wasting time, with respect, and two, I find it wholly irrelevant, because where are we going to get? What are we going to decide? What is the difference between methodology and construction methodology? That is not part of the solicitation documents. So that is my reply. And that was for the evaluation committee. Much obliged.
So, Mr. Takla saying I would tend to agree with the respondent's attorney, and I will allow the question.
Much obliged.
Yeah, Mr. Bidibu, I know you didn't understand the question previously. So let's take the first part of that note you have there. Items above to be used as guidelines for construction. My question to you, in response to an RFP, as an experienced engineer, do you usually submit guidelines?
Yes, construction guidelines and methodologies is almost interchangeable.
Right. And the second part of your note, which reads, and in no way should be viewed as confirmation as to the method of construction, right? Does that conform with your understanding after you read the evaluation criteria for detailed technical approach?
Yes.
So what you're telling this panel here is that I will provide, from your understanding, the RFP requested a detailed technical approach and methodology, correct?
Correct.
Right. And what you're submitting here, caveat to your proposal, these are just guidelines and not confirmation as to the method of construction. That's correct?
No, what I'm saying is that what is in this document here would be a method of construction. However, the company does not bind itself.
No, let him answer the question. Objection, you can't interrupt him. If you ask a question, you have to let him answer. With all due respect.
What I ask you?
No, Madam Chair, with all due respect. Mr. Valsayn asked a question.
Mr. Valsayn, I would tend to agree. Let him answer the question. Could you repeat the question and let the witness answer the question?
Mr. Dibu, you need me to repeat the question or you understand?
No, I understand. What I was saying is that what this statement is saying is that Kall, the company, does not bind itself to what is previous in this document, because there are many ways to construct something. What happens normally is that a lot of clients tend to use what you have in your document and hold you to it. But what I'm simply saying here is that there are many ways to do it, and we would like to explore, when we get this contract, other ways that may be possible to do. That's what this statement means.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dibu. Mr. Dibu, would you agree with me that if you provide guidelines for construction and general ways of going about construction, it would not necessarily assist the evaluator to understand your detailed methodology and approach?
We provided details of the construction and how we view that the construction would take place.
Okay. Mr. Dibu, you have had the benefit of the successful bidder's technical approach, correct?
Correct.
And you accept that it did contain a little more detail.
That is correct.
Can I just clarify for my note, Madam Chair? Mr. Baliram has asked the question a little more detail, right? That's the question he's asked.
That's in his witness statement.
Right, good. Much obliged.
Mr. Tackleton, just a little reminder. I know you might be a bit excited, but just indicate when you want to object or say objection first, right?
We're sharing the same mic, so yes, I will say objection. I was asking for clarification of the question because I wanted it for my note that he's asking that he's putting to my witness that the successful tenderer had a little more specific, so a little more what? Detail, a little more detail. So I just wanted it for my note.
Please.
Much obliged.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, I know Mr. Tackleton is trying his best to protect his witness, but the facts will remain the facts. But I will proceed. Mr. DeBoog, in your witness statement, you would have accepted that the successful bidder's proposal would have contained a little more detail.
Yes.
Did you examine that technical approach and methodology?
Yes, I did, yes.
And when compared to the bid that you would have prepared and submitted, did it contain vital details as to the construction and methodology on this project?
Vital details?
Yes.
You can explain vital details, what you mean by vital details?
In terms of the work plan, the work activities that were project specific.
Madam Chair, with all due respect, I have to object there. Sorry, I'm raising an answer. Yes,
Yes, Mr. Tackleton.
my friend can't seriously be asking its own relevance. We're asking Mr. Boog to go through Mr. Maraj Hill's or the company's entire submission now and point out what are the, what do you use? Critical?
No, vital.
Vital, whether or not he complied with vital requirements. I mean, that is open to subjectivity. He hasn't identified what vital requirements he is talking about. So you can't, it's too open-ended a question.
Thank you, Mr. Tackleton. Mr.
Madam Chair, I am not asking the witness to go through that. He attested at paragraph 10 of his witness statement. He attested at paragraph 10 of it. He has reviewed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He would have made certain comments on it. I'm asking him about his review of it.
Okay, so Mr. Bisram, if it is you want to point out specifics, but I agree with I tend to agree with Mr. Tackleton that asking vital detail is a bit broad, notwithstanding that it might have been in the witness statement. So if you want to go through specifics of details, then you could proceed along that line. But
Indeed. Mr. DeBoog, in terms of the methodology, the work plan and the work activities.
perhaps you could take it one at a time.
But accepted, Madam Chair. Mr. DeBoog, in terms of the methodology, right, would the successful bidder's proposal address project-specific details?
Madam Chair, with all due respect, how is that? I object. Yes, I object. I apologize. How is that a question of relevance for what we identified in the last CMC, Madam Chair? What were the issues that we had to determine?
Yes, please.
I don't know how. This is a question as to whether our tender was non-compliant or not, or fell low of the standard. Nowhere in our case did we say, well, there's criticism, but nowhere in our case do we say that Marajin is non-compliant, right? So I don't know what is the use or relevance of Mr. Baliram asking our engineer to assess Maraj Hill's tender in relation to their tender documents. That seems to be not a question that we have to answer in this tribunal.
Okay, before we proceed, I think I would like the witness out while we deliberate on this particular objection.
Sure.
We would, oh yes, he's in your room, so yes.
Yes. Yes. Let's watch the court.
Yeah.
Let's stand right there. You have glass or something. And she's standing out of earshot. The glass door won't turn.
Right. Mr. Balira?
Madam Chair, just as a matter of housekeeping, I know at the CMC, my instructor has just indicated to me that I just have 10 minutes again, because at the CMC, we were limited to 30 minutes.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to keep within my timeline there.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Takhalsing. Briefly, will you finish or?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Right. So.
But that was a response to my objection, so I don't know. My objection is simply that the issues we had to determine are whether or not our bid was rejected for lawful reasons, that is Kall's bid was rejected for lawful reasons, or secondly, whether they exercised the discretion to ask for more clarification. We didn't impeach, or we haven't said that Maraj Hill was non-compliant. So asking our client, or didn't pass or fail, we didn't say that about Maraj Hill, right? So asking our engineer, what is his assessment of Maraj Hill's bid? I don't know how that is relevant to the questions this panel has to determine. I'm simply trying to narrow the issues for the panel.
This would have been discussed in skeletal.
Yes.
And it would have been discussed in skeletal submissions. It's nowhere in my friend's skeletal submissions. This new
Line of questioning.
Mr. Kallasa, before I proceed, would you like to say something in response? No, sorry, not Mr. Kallasa, sorry, Mr. Bisram.
Mr. Baliram.
Mr. Baliram, sorry. Sorry, Mr. Baliram.
Madam Chair, goes directly to our defense as contained in the reply that the bid was rejected because of vagueness and non-compliance with crucial aspects of it. Now, the witness has examined the proposal, which we have attached as the successful bidder, and conducted a comparison with his own in his witness statement, and says, well, although it contains some more detail, still, you really can't come to that conclusion. So I am basically testing that evidence. He has made that statement in his witness statement. He has conducted a comparison and said, look, I have attached it to my witness statement, but he could not have reached that conclusion. It goes back to the central question. It's whether it was vague. This is the man who prepared this submission. And his understanding goes directly to what was placed on that bid.
Just a short reply. I'm going to withdraw my objection partially, meaning that if Mr. Baliram wants to use the rest of his time asking for my engineer's professional advice, that's fine. But I just want to remind him that the law, as cited by both parties in both cases, the court must take an objective view of the solicitation documents. So it doesn't matter what my client says, his opinion on the words used in the solicitation documents. The court must come to an objective assessment as to whether it gave the reasonable tender a fair notice. So I will allow him, if he wants to spend the 10 minutes doing that, then I have no difficulty.
I would allow the questions. I believe it is relevant to the issues.
But much about
panel.
Madam Chair, I think my time should be extended given the number of objections from Mr. Takhalsing. Because we think it has been refuted.
Do you foresee the need for more than 10 minutes?
Yeah. Madam Chair, I don't suspect I will.
The rules. I don't think he should get an extension, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's move along. Thank you, gentlemen. You may continue with the witness.
Mr. Dibu, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes.
Right. Having conducted a review of Maraj Hill, their proposal, their technical proposal, in terms of the methodology, did it address project-specific areas?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Mr. Libu, I'll move on very quickly. I don't have much time. In your witness statement at paragraph 11, you've made the statement that our cumulative work experience and bridges and highly experienced staff demonstrate more than our ability to execute these works. You remember that statement? Or would you like to be shown it?
You can show it to me.
Madam Chair, it's paragraph 11 of the witness statement.
Yes, please. We will have it up on the screen shortly. Paragraph 11 of the witness statement of NIPDEC.
Go to the end of paragraph 11. Madam. Yes, Mr. Dibu, you see that?
Yes.
The last last 5 lines of paragraph 11. Do you see that?
Yes.
So, Mr. Dibu, do you, in that statement there, you're saying to this panel that based on your work experience, you have demonstrated more than an ability to complete this project?
No, I'm saying based on our submission, the entire document.
Okay. But then we move on to paragraph 12, Mr. Dibu, right? You seeing that there on the screen?
Yes.
Right? Where you say fully detailed documents are submitted after the award and will address all the finer details of actual construction.
Correct.
Mr. Dibu, is that how it is done in the construction industry with a response to a tender?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Dibu, if that is the case, how is an evaluator able to determine that you understand the detailed technical approach and methodology?
By the submission.
No, I understand, but how, if you don't describe it, you don't set out your methodology, you don't set out the technical aspects of it, how is an evaluator able to determine that you possess the relevant knowledge of these works and what is required the completion of these works?
We have addressed the major construction tasks with respect to this job, and we think that is enough for them to make an evaluation. And what I'm saying here is, normally in the construction industry, this is enough, and once you are awarded the contract, the client asks for further details in terms of methodology, schedule, all of that. So what we try to demonstrate here is our ability to do the job. We didn't get into details as to how we're going to pour the concrete or what pump we're going to use, but those are things for after the construction, after the award, sorry. That is what we're saying.
So you agree you didn't submit a very detailed methodology and work plan, correct?
It was detailed, in my opinion.
Okay, but finer details would have been provided afterwards.
Specifically break down each task and how you're going to do it, equipment, trucks, those kinds of things. That at this stage, in my view, I don't think that is necessary. You need to show that you're capable of doing the job, site specific, you understand what the job entails, and I think we did that with respect to our submission.
So is it that you said you didn't think it was necessary? Is that what you just said? You didn't think it was necessary?
I probably said we are not sure.
Okay.
I didn't think I said I don't think I came out my mouth.
Okay. Mr. Dibu, if we were to accept that finer details are provided after the contract is awarded, tell me how then, or tell this panel, right? How do you arrive at the prices in your BOQs?
Repeat the question. I'm not understanding what you're asking.
You've just said it, and by your
Right.
witness statement, you said finer details are provided after the award of the contract, correct?
Correct.
Correct. And that would relate to technical approach, correct?
Correct.
The methodology,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
And the work plan, right?
Yes.
And also ancillary works, correct?
No, I'm not sure what you mean by ancillary works.
The finer details, those are provided afterwards,
Right.
correct? So if the finer details are provided afterwards, how do you arrive at the final quantities in your bill of quantities? How do you arrive at the final sums in your bill of quantities?
By experience, I mean how I price it, because I'm the one who did the pricing. Based on my experience, I put prices, I receive quotations from our nominated subcontractor or specialists, and that's how we put prices to the bill of quantities.
Okay, but those bill of quantities can change when you provide finer details.
What, sorry?
Those bills of quantities can change when you provide the finer details, correct?
No, I don't understand what you mean by that at all.
Follow me. If it is that you're able to provide more details after the contract is awarded, correct? That's what you're saying.
In terms of methodology and program, yes.
And work plan,
Right.
right? If there are changes to that after the contract is awarded, when you provide the finer details, will it not consequently mean an adjustment in your bill of quantities from your contract price as contained in your bid?
No, not at all.
So your contract price will remain the same, notwithstanding any changes.
That is correct, unless it's a variation. But once it's a bill item that has a unit and we put a rate to it, we're bound by it.
Okay, very well, Mr. Debu. I can agree. Mr. Debu, I just have one question before I wrap up my 30 minutes. I'm going to put a question to you, and you could either agree with it or disagree with it. Correct? You understand?
I need to hear the question.
You're right. I'm putting to you that the solicitation documents were very clear on what was required. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I have no further questions.
Any re-examination, Mr. Tackleton?
Yes. 2 questions. Mr. Debu, in relation to the last question that was just asked, did you comply with the solicitation documents in your opinion?
Yes, we did.
And just for clarity, could you explain to could you explain what is a bill of quantity? Isn't that something, agree with me or disagree? A bill of quantities where you have a unit and a price ascribed to the unit, either of a quantity of material or a measurement.
Mr. Tackleton, hold on.
Yes.
That is correct, yes.
Hold on. Listen. My
Madam
friend.
Chair,
Yes.
that is not re-examination.
Yes.
There's no clarification required on that issue from the witness.
I would agree with Mr. Baliram, and so we would. Do you have any further questions, Mr. Tackleton?
It was more for clarification for Mr. Baliram. I think no questions.
Thank you very much, Council. All right. So we are finished with Mr. Debu.
Yes. Chair, because he does not have to give any more evidence, is he also required to leave the room? And that is my case. So there's no.
No, he can remain in the room. He's finished giving us.
So that is my case, Madam Chair. That is my witness.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tackleton. Mr. Baliram.
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to
Show
call
me your
my first
witnesses.
witness, Ms. Karen Bowen.
Ms. Bowen.
Karen.
Oh, we have to see her.
No, the owners pick up the voice.
No, but you have to see her.
Yeah, they will be able to see her. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. It's fine.
No, just stay there. How would you be able to?
Madam Chair.
Sorry? Mr.
I'm just-
Baliram,
Yes, Madam Chair.
in addition to the 3 persons, yourself and the 2 other persons, now we have Miss Bowen. Are there other persons in the room?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Just
I
very
just retrieved Ms. Bowen.
Yes, please. Is Miss Bowen ready?
Yes.
We're not
One
seeing her
second.
on camera.
You come here.
Yeah. Just trying to adjust this camera, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, just to indicate my instructing just stepped out for 1 second. I know you want
Thank
to
you very much.
leaving. Yes, much obliged.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taklalsing. So, Mr. Baliram, you're gonna have to have your witness sworn in.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So, Ms. Bowen, just listen for the oath.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bowen.
Good afternoon.
Can you please repeat after me?
Sure.
I,
I,
please state your name,
Karen Bowen,
do solemnly, sincerely, and truly affirm
do solemnly, sincerely, and truly affirm
that the evidence I shall give to the hearing panel
that the evidence I shall give to the hearing panel
in this case shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Ms. Bowen, could you please state your name, address, and profession for the tribunal?
So my name is Karen Bowen. My address is 86 Edinburgh Village, Shabonas, and I'm a project engineer.
Ms. Bowen, did you provide a witness statement in this matter on the 9th of October 2024?
Yes, I did.
And the contents of that witness statement are true and correct?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I ask for the statement of Ms. Bowen to be tendered and marked.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Well, we don't need to tender it and mark, but it's accepted as the evidence.
Force of
Right.
habit, Madam Chair.
So we could hand over for cross-examination now, Mr.
Indeed,
Baliram.
Madam Chair. Indeed,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baliram. Mr. Taklalsing, your witness.
Yes, Madam Chair, just to remind me, how much time did I was allotted for cross-examination? Just so I
30 minutes, please.
30
The
minutes.
same length
For each witness.
for each witness.
Yes, much obliged. Ms. Bowen, you were one of the evaluators, that's correct?
Yes, correct.
You were not the only evaluator, there were a few others, correct?
Yes.
How many other evaluators?
There were 3 other evaluators.
Good, and you prepared this witness statement and put particulars of evaluations in your witness statement, correct?
Yes.
You got this from a report?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Did you make, sorry, let me rephrase the question. After your evaluation, was there a report?
Yes.
And that report is what you have copied onto your witness statement, correct?
Not copied specifically, it would have relayed that information.
You summarized the report.
Yes.
Where's the report?
Clarify, please.
Where's the report? The evaluation report, where's the report?
It's with the tenders committee, I'm assuming, after post evaluation.
When you did this witness statement, you understand you were giving evidence to the tribunal to explain your decision, correct?
Yes, correct.
You understood you had an obligation to provide all material to assist them, correct?
Yes.
You understood that also means documents, correct?
Yes.
Where's the report?
I believe another report would have been submitted in terms
Oh,
of.
sorry, wait, hold on. There are two reports?
This is in response to your challenge that the applicant would have made. A report was
Okay.
submitted.
Oh, I see. So there's a report of the evaluation committee, and then there's another report in response to the challenge. Yes?
I don't know if you watch it.
That's correct? No, don't look at anyone. You need to look at me, right? That's correct?
So you need to answer the questions.
You should watch it.
Yes?
Repeat your question one more time, please.
So, Ms. Bowen, you know what I'm asking. There's a report of the evaluation committee. Let's take it step by step to be fair to you. There's a report by the evaluation committee. You don't have that report here today, correct?
No.
There's a report in response to my challenge proceedings, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't bring that report either. Correct?
I am not sure.
You're not sure if you have the report in your witness statement. Let me have counsel next to you or counsel in the room show you your witness statement, or Madam Chair, if we don't mind putting up the witness statement with the annexures. Well, let's take it from me. Take it from me. I apologize. I don't want to waste time. There are two annexures to your witness statement. One is a degree, and the second one appears to be minutes of a meeting. You remember that when you signed the witness statement?
Yes, correct.
Good. And you have not produced in your witness statement the evaluation report of this tender, firstly. And secondly, a second report you have not produced that was done in response to our challenge, correct?
Yes.
Good. Now, I want to take you to paragraph 9 of your witness statement. I'm going to read for you. If I'm moving too fast, it's really just the way I speak, right? So I apologize. So just tell me to slow down and I will slow down. Paragraph 9 of the witness statement. During the evaluation period, each evaluator independently scored the tenderer's submissions and upon completion were noted to have, and the word you use, similar concerns. Correct? You see that in your witness statement?
Yes.
Right. How many evaluators were there?
There were 4.
4 evaluators. They all did not have identical concerns. They had similar concerns. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. So that therefore there may be concerns that you had in relation to my client's bid document, which other evaluators may not have had concerns about. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. So there may have been a little debate and dispute in the evaluation room, right, as to what concerns were genuine, how strong some concerns were, and how weak some concerns were. Correct?
For the most part, yes.
Good. So there was a dispute in the evaluation committee. Apart from the reports, were there minutes of this evaluation committee?
I am not sure.
You're not sure. Was someone taking minutes during this? How long did this process take in this evaluation process? Was it instantaneously, we choose Mirage Hill, or is it that you all actually considered each tender and had discussions?
No, each tender has to be evaluated and discussed in detail.
Okay, good. And therefore, was someone taking a record of what comments everybody was making in relation to what, in order to, because you had about 9 or 10, you had 10 tenderers here, not so? About 9 or 10.
9, yes.
Right, so how long did that last? How long did the process last?
I can't confirm the duration.
But ma'am, weren't you there in the committee?
This was quite some time ago, so I'm unable to confirm the duration, the specifics of it.
So,
You can't.
2 months ago?
This wasn't about 2 months ago, Miss Bowen?
Possibly.
Okay, so let's get this straight, right? When did you do this witness statement? A few days ago. You did this witness statement a few days ago, correct?
Yes, correct.
Right, so when you signed this witness statement, you were able to recall everything that happened in that meeting in order to put it in a witness statement, correct?
No,
Okay, good. So you did this witness statement being unable to recall what happened in the evaluation committee, correct? Or not sure?
no.
What would you?
I want to get your answer clear for everybody here, right? I want to get your answer clear, right? When you did this witness statement a few days ago, were you able to recall what was happening in all of the evaluation discussions during the evaluation committee meeting? Yes or no?
I was not able to recall every single tenderer. However, I could recall it would have been similar in nature in terms of the concerns. There's only so much variation that could be had in terms of the submissions. It was either it was pretty clear in terms of what was in there, so hence I put similar concerns.
When you did your witness statement, are you saying you represented the views of all the evaluators?
No.
No, you don't. So this is just your view, correct?
Following the discussion of that evaluation process, I could come out of it saying that the concerns were similar.
Similar but not identical, correct?
Correct.
Good. And in response to the question I had before that, you can't remember how long that process took, those discussions, correct?
Correct.
You can't remember specific concerns in relation to each tenderer, correct?
Correct.
Good. Now, Ms. Bowen, one of the things in your witness statement, you talk about minutes that was sent to my client, right? Did you have a chance? Anyway, you said that minutes were sent, and in those minutes, further details were put in relation to response to the tender, correct?
Sorry, could you repeat?
You attach minutes to your witness statement, correct?
Yes.
Right. And the reason for attaching that witness statement, well, let me ask you, why did you attach those minutes? What was the relevance of it?
The minutes are quite important, so since those were from the pre-tender site visit, that is where key aspects of the project would have been highlighted to the tenderers. It is also the occasion on which the tenderers would have been given a chance to seek any clarification that they would have needed following the site visit and seeing the conditions of the site, seeing any particular constraints or whatnot that might have been present at the site during that visit. So it was quite an important aspect of the tendering process.
Very articulate answer, Ms. Bowen. When were the minutes prepared?
I'm not sure.
Who prepared the minutes?
Myself.
You prepared the minutes. When you were at the meeting, because these minutes are typed up, were you typing?
As in if this record of
When
the
you were
minutes
at the meeting, these are typed minutes, right? These are typed minutes that you sent.
correct.
Did you type these minutes?
Not at that meeting.
Good. You took a handwritten note, yes?
No, I have a voice recording.
You have a voice recording. Oh, you didn't share that voice recording?
Yes, we did.
You shared it with everybody?
Yes.
When did you send these minutes to the contractors?
I can't give the specific date.
Okay, you understand that there's a limited time between the site visit and the submission of the tender, correct?
Yes, I'm aware.
Would you take it from me, since you can't remember dates, that the meeting was, well, the date of the meeting is there. Hold on. What is the date of the meeting?
2nd of July.
The date of the meeting is the 2nd of July, right? Do you know when this minute was sent?
No,
Some
as
weeks
in,
after? Would you agree with me that this minute was sent weeks after that meeting?
I'll have to take your word for it. As I indicated, I'm not sure.
Okay, take it from me. It was sent on the 18th,
16th.
the 16th of July, right? You could check the, what do you call it, the e-box?
The box tender.
The e-box tender, as if you want and send that submission. It was sent on the 16th, 2 weeks after the
Sure.
meeting. And do you know when these tenders were supposed to close?
I'm not sure.
shortly after that, less than a week. So you were sending what you say were key aspects for tenderers to comply with in writing 2 or 3 weeks after the site visit for them to have codified and shortly before the deadline for submission. You agree with that?
I agree that the written submission was sent across. However, obviously representatives from each tenderer would have been present at the site visit. Therefore, I'm assuming that information would have been relayed to the representative or project team who would have been preparing the tender document. So yes, it was supplemented. However, there were representatives from each tenderer at the site visit.
Well articulated again, Ms. Bowen. Did you seek to confirm the tender minutes with any of the tenderers before it was finalized?
No.
When you do minutes of a meeting, you understand that you confirm minutes? You know that process, yeah? So you have a meeting, a board meeting, you take minutes, you circulate the minutes, you ask everybody to confirm it, and then it's a confirmed minute. You understand that process, right?
Yeah.
You didn't do that?
Well, as you indicated, there was still time.
Not as I indicated, Ms. Bowen. I'm asking a simple question. Did you do that? Did you confirm the minutes with the tenderers?
No, so that is where I would have.
Thank you. Right? Now, you had a look at these solicitation documents?
Yes.
Good. I want to take you to the solicitation documents quickly. Instructions to tenderers. You see it big there, section 2, instructions to tenderers, correct?
I'm not seeing it.
Mr. Tappan, could you tell us a page so we could get it up on the screen?
Yes, it is. Madam Chair, I sent a trial bundle. I think, are you using the trial bundle? Yes. So it's page 387. 387. Yes. See that big document there? That big heading, instructions to tenderers?
Not yet.
It's okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, there's just one, I have one slight complaint. I don't know if it's on my side. Okay, I think it's fixed.
Yeah, it's when they put it up, the camera.
Mr. Baliram is a very good-looking man, I'm sure. But the camera only seems to be on Mr. Baliram, at least from my angle. I think it's veering away. It's moving a lot. I don't know if they could stabilize the camera so that it's only on the witness, if that's possible.
So, Mr. Baliram, could we just have the focus on the witness for the purpose of the cross-examination?
It keeps shifting. I don't know why. Okay. Maybe you're not seeing it, but sometimes it goes into double mode and then
Triple mode.
You can say. Some of those percentages.
Yeah, okay. If we could maintain that angle, I think that would be fine. Right, Ms. Bowen, so the instruction to tenderers document. I want to take you to point 7, content of tender documents. It's at page 391.
This is volume 1.
This is
You're in the correct volume.
391, volume 1.
Yeah, volume 1, 391.
That's 388.
391.
That's 388 I'm seeing on the, yeah, 39.
Yeah, sorry, it's 391 in the document, but we've done page number 391.
No. It's so the 391 would be marked underneath the document as opposed
At
to
the
what,
bottom, yes.
yeah, what the PDF is, yes.
Yes, please. I understand.
So they're very far off there.
Yes. No, we go into right.
You have the PDF number. No, you have it. Like,
But the right here, okay, it's almost there. There's just 10 more pages. Yeah, almost there. Yeah,
right.
you just scroll past it.
Just up to 7.7 is where I want to be, Madam Chair. Right, so you see that section? This set of tender documents issued for the purpose of soliciting tenders includes. Do you see minutes there anyway? Minutes of meetings?
No.
Good, and you accept that these are the documents listed. Fair enough, it says includes, could say other things, could mean other things, but the documents listed and the instruction to the tenderer were that he was supposed to get his instructions from these documents because it was for the purpose of soliciting tenders. You accept that?
Not particularly. This is just one aspect of the tender document. So yes, these are the sets of tender documents. However, I'm pretty sure.
Hold on, let me clarify for you. Hold on. Let's get clear. So paragraph 7, content of tender documents. This is intended to list all of the tender documents. And then there's a subheading. The set of tender documents issued for the purpose of soliciting tenders includes, and then it sets out those documents. And in those documents following the colon, there are no minutes of meetings, correct?
Correct.
Good. And there's nothing there about pre-tender meeting, correct?
Within this document that you list, yes, there is, but in this specific listing, no.
In this listing, there's no pre-tender meeting minute, correct?
Correct.
So that a contractor, you agree with me, a contractor who looks at this contract, looks at this document, cannot expect to get further particular detailed instructions from minutes of meetings because it's not listed here. Correct?
Correct.
Good. Let's move on. I want to go to paragraph 23. That is page 397. Right, you see that? So it talks about pre-tender meeting. I think you were speaking about this. So pre-tender meeting and site visit will be held for the project as detailed in the letter. Invitation. The tenderer is advised to examine the site of works and its surroundings and satisfy himself that all information necessary for preparing the tender and entering into contract has been taken into consideration. You agree with me that this tells this does not tell or inform a reasonably well-informed reasonable contractor that he's to expect further instructions from the employer at a pre-tender meeting. This is for clarification. That's what you list this pre-tender meeting for, correct?
Not clarification, more so to highlight the key aspects of works.
Fine, to highlight key aspects of works that are already listed, correct?
Correct.
Good. And if you could just go down into the other page, that's 398, 399. Now, just to be clear here, right? Just to take some bearing, just to be clear. The assessment methodology you adopted is that you had to pass the technical criteria or the technical submission before price went on to be considered. That's correct?
Correct.
Good. So you had to pass or fail, and if you pass, then your price will be considered, correct?
Correct.
And just for the record, Kall's bid, as far as you're aware, was almost approximately $2 million less than the successful bidder, correct? Approximately.
I'll have to take your word for this. I can't
find. I won't hold you to that, but I am saying that it was less. It was less. Yes. Now in the sorry, you broke up there. If we could go down a bit, Madam Chair, to 399. I want to bring 399 into focus. Right. Good. Stop there. Could we go down a little more? You say here in this document, right? This is the doc. First of all, Ms. Bowen, did you prepare this tender document? Did you prepare this evaluation criteria and the tender and the solicitation documents?
I would have prepared this tender document, yes.
The solicitation documents, you prepared it personally?
No, not all of it.
Okay, and this scoring criteria, did you prepare this?
I can't see it at the moment.
I think we moved a little, well, this from pages 398 to 399, it's called evaluation criteria. And there's a table. You're familiar with that? This entire table. You're familiar with this table? And the scores are attributed?
Yes.
You're familiar with that?
Correct.
Yeah, good. Did you prepare this?
To some extent, yes.
You had input?
Yes.
Good. The document at 399 says a proposal shall be rejected at this stage if it does not respond to important aspects of the tender. Important aspects of the tender. Where in the solicitation documents can a contractor find the list of important aspects of the tender?
Well, there's a table above. Also, there are the list of schedules, which kind of indicates what is expected of each tenderer to be submitted within their application for bid. So,
okay.
So one of the particulars, obviously, as you all would have highlighted within your, I think your witness, well, one of your documents, you would have seen that the methodology is heavily weighted. So that is one of the aspects of it, which I believe is detailed in Form Tech 4, where it lists that require a detail.
I think you're going off, and your counsel could correct me if he thinks I'm unreasonably stopping you. My question was, where is there a list to inform the contractor of what are the important aspects of this tender, such that if he does not put something forward, he could have his proposal rejected? Do you have a list like that anywhere in these tender documents?
Yes, there is a list of schedules.
There's a list of schedules, but important aspects of the tender.
Well, I'm going to have to say that any experienced contractor could review the tender application or the RFP and pull out all important aspects that are required based on, I think it's pretty clear cut in terms of the document.
Okay, you pointed to this table above. Let's go up to the table. Since it's clear cut, let's go up to the table. Right, stop there. If you could just stop at 3, technical, go down to technical approach here. Right. So this is the document which tells you the technical. When here does it tell me I have to give you a detailed approach to relocate TNTEC poles? Where in this document?
Right, so right to the top at 3.1, it says detailed technical approach, methodology, and work plan. And it explains the work activities. Well, I'm not going to read out the rest of it. However, it does explicitly state a detailed technical approach. And in order to allow the evaluators to have a proper understanding
TNTEC poles, Ms. Bowen, where is it? Does it tell me I have to make sure and give you a detailed plan about TNTEC poles and WASA lines? Where in this? Anywhere?
No, there's no idea. However, that is an important aspect of works. In order to even commence anything, you need to relocate the utilities, which would have been explained at the site visit.
Right, the site visit that you sent minutes for 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, correct?
Correct, that you represent.
Because it was so important, yes? So according to what you just said, right? I'm not putting words in your mouth. According to what you just said, the WASA relocation and the trust, that WASA trust issue, right? Forgive me, I'm not an engineer, but that relocation of the WASA trust and was a very critical and important aspect, correct?
It is important to be removed, yes.
It is important, and it's so important that if you didn't mention it, you could have been disqualified.
Not mentioned, if it says you did not detailed.
If it is,
you
you
did
didn't
not
detail it. So it's even
Correct.
worse if you didn't. It's even worse if you didn't mention it, I suppose.
No, you would have been allocated points depending on your the details within that. So a mention and some additional detail is not the same as a detailed explanation of things.
Okay, but Kall at least mentioned it,
Okay,
correct?
Mr. Valsayn,
Oh, sorry,
I see your friend hands.
Yes, I didn't see it.
Your
Sorry.
friend hands.
Madam Chair, I'm just informed I'm instructing, I think Mr. Valsayn is actually on his 30 minutes. So I don't know if he's going to be long again.
Yes, okay, thanks for the reminder, Mr.
Yes.
Baliram. So Valsayn, do you have?
I have a few more questions, Madam Chair. So
Okay, but just be cognizant, we're going to give you 5 minutes extra.
you could, Madam Chair, if I'm allotted 30 and 30, I can move into the other witness. I will spend less time with the other witness because the questions overlap. Yes?
So,
Much
yes,
obliged. And thank you to Mr. Baliram. I'm sure his watch is working very good. So, so Ms. Bowen, right? I was just asking you, we're speaking about Wassa Trust. You were saying that you would be given points if you mention the Wassa Trust, correct?
The relocation, the fabrication, all of the details
Right.
that would.
Right, but is it so important? Because you just use the word important, and your tender document says that if you fail to mention important things, you could be disqualified, correct? Is it that was so obvious that you had to do it, that's why it's important?
Sorry, could you repeat the last part?
Your document here says that important aspects of the tender, if you don't mention it, you could be disqualified. Does Wassa Trust and relocation of TNTech polls fall within that?
Not as a standalone item that you'll be disqualified if you haven't mentioned this one item, no.
Okay, good. So that several of your criticisms, right? Much of your criticisms, none of these things, let's say either failure to mention or failure to particularize, would have automatically disqualified Kall, correct?
Correct.
Good. Now, of course, we don't have your report to determine what weight was done, but let's take it. You saw the defense in this matter. Well, you provided a report to the defense, but you saw the defense that was filed, a reply, NIPDEC's reply, NIPDEC's reply.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, could you just repeat?
You have NIPDEC's reply, the reply document. It's on page 361, ma'am. If you could just go to it.
the number choosing from.
Yes, right.
Okay.
So just 361, which is evaluated scoring criteria. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things here, you supply the instructions to this in your report that we don't have.
Yes.
Right. This is from your report.
Yes.
Okay. Right. And so each one of these items, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, at the top you say, reason the firm lost points. How much points did they lose for TNTech and Wassa? For that first A, how much points did they lose?
I can't remember, however.
How much points did they lose for demolition?
I can't recall the specific
How much
breakdown.
points did they remove? How much points did they lose for installation of shoring bridge?
I can't recall.
Do we have did you ascribe points for these things?
Yes, they would have been did some points.
Right. So there were certain things that you were looking for, a list, correct?
An understanding.
An understanding. Whose understanding?
Well, it should be from an experienced tenderer who's submitting.
No, the experience. I don't know how it works where you are, ma'am, but the tenderer doesn't sit in an evaluation committee, right? I'm asking you, what were you using when you were evaluating the bids?
There's a breakdown in terms of your an idea of what it is you should get or submit.
There's a breakdown of sub-criteria, I assume.
It's the key elements that would be required to construct a bridge. We can't spoon feed the tenderers in terms of giving them every single item. Otherwise, there would be no advantage in terms of for tenderers to prove their understanding of the job. That is the point of.
So how would they know? So how would they know what key element you would ascribe more or less points for? Because you just told me that they could mention it and get a score, and provide more detail and get a score as well, right? Right. So if they just mentioned WASA, that they know they had to do this, right? What score were they attributed?
Your
Unless
friend.
Mr. Baliram has the report.
Yes. Hold on, Mr. Takla, saying your friend had his hand up. Mr. Baliram?
Madam Chair, I think my friend is going in circles with his questions on the witness.
Are you
objected? Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think the question has been asked several times. The witness has answered. She does not have the report in front of her. She doesn't remember the points ascribed.
No, well, I wasn't asking that question. I was asking Ms. Singh, how did she go about ascribing these scores? You said scores were ascribed for each one of these things, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or that people lost scores for it. Is that the specific score that was lost or earned? Is that recorded in your quote unquote report?
Before you answer, so I would agree with Mr. Takla saying that the question is a bit different. So you could proceed with your question, Mr. Takla.
Yes.
Objection.
Ms. Bowen, you have the question. Do you need me to repeat it?
Sure.
So A to whatever letter it ends at, U. Each one of those items, you ascribed a score, or you took away a score, a point, or points, or scores, or value, however you want to choose it. Those are contained in this quote-unquote report that you have?
The specific score, no. No.
Right. Now, in the criteria, how much points was awarded in the evaluation criteria for technical proposals? That's 48 points, correct?
I believe so.
You believe so? And how you agree with me that a contractor couldn't know, listen to the question, right? Because I'm asking about points. A contractor could not know from looking at these solicitation documents how much points he could have lost or earned in relation to all of the sub-criteria you have listed from A to U here. There's nothing that tells him that in the document. You agree?
Agree.
Good. I have no more questions for Ms. Bowen. Well, Ms. Bowen is the employer. Ms. Bowen, you're from Pure Unit, right?
Correct.
You're from the Pure Unit. Ms. Bowen, I'm just gonna put something to you. You can agree or disagree, right? I put it to you that the solicitation documents were not clear enough. Or did not meet the standards of transparency. I'm putting it as broad as that for you. You agree or disagree?
I disagree.
And I'm putting it to you that the solicitation documents at least don't give the tenderers the scores of the sub-criteria which you accepted just now, but I'm putting it to you formally. You agree or disagree?
The specifics, I agree.
You agree. Good. No more questions for Ms. Bowen. Thank you, Ms. Bowen.
Mr. Baliram, any re-examination?
Just one question,
Yes, please.
Madam. Ms. Bowen, if there's a clarification sought prior to the bids being submitted, is there an addenda issued?
Yes, correct.
Does that addenda issued form part of your solicitation documents?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I'm not, if I have an objection, I apologize.
Definitely.
I asked no question about clarification. So I am 100% sure that this does not rise in re-examination. I didn't ask a question about any tenderer seeking clarification from Ms. Boyle. So I don't know where this question is coming from. I'm interested in the answer. So if she answers, I would like to ask her further questions on it. So my friend has a choice.
Madam Chair, it relates directly to my friend's questions to Ms. Bowen of what formed part of the contract documents and the solicitation documents. And that question was targeted at that.
Yes. Okay, so I recall the question, Mr. Taklalsing, in which you went through the list of the solicitation documents. That is the question you're referring to, Mr. Baliram?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Right. So I would allow it on that regard. Continue, Mr. Baliram.
Yeah, that's the end of my question.
Oh, Ms. Bowen didn't answer.
She did answer, Madam Chair, but
Yes, I agree that those documents are part or form part of the RFP.
Yes.
no further questions, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, could I ask a question based on that answer? I think I'm entitled to.
One question, Mr. Taklalsing.
Yes.
Mr. Taklalsing, you in fact went through the list of the solicitation documents.
Okay, fine. Well, I think the point is made then. I think the point is made to this experience panel.
Yes, please. So, Mr. Taklalsing?
I think there's one more witness to cross-examine, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
It is witness be being excused, Madam Chair.
Just for a little housekeeping, you have 25 minutes for this witness, Mr. Taklalsing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowen. Could we have the next witness, please?
Absolutely. Madam Chair, Mr. Akash Mohan, you may be sworn in.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mohan, listen for the oath, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mohan.
Absolutely.
Could you please repeat after me? I,
I,
please state your name,
Akash Mohan,
do solemnly, sincerely, and truly affirm
do solemnly, sincerely, and truly affirm
that the evidence I shall give to the hearing panel
that the evidence I shall give to the hearing panel
in this case
in this case
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Before you start, just give me 1 minute, please, Mr. Baliram. Sorry. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Baliram. I omitted to tell you for Ms. Bowen, but there is no need to lead the particulars. This is a public hearing, so I don't need to lead the witness on the address and so forth. It's fine. You can tell them the statement.
Okay. Could you state your name for this tribunal?
Akash Mohan.
Mr. Mohan, you would have provided a witness statement in this matter on the 9th of October,
That is correct.
and the contents of that witness statement are true and correct.
That is correct.
Madam Chair, Mr. Mohan is available
Yes.
for crossing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tackleton, your witness across.
Mr. Mohan, your job in this relation to this tender was to evaluate the report, correct? The tender's report. The evaluation committee report, correct?
To review the report for onward submission to the procurement manager.
Madam Chair, sorry, the camera is now between Mr. Baliram and the witness. I can't see either of them. I don't know if it could be.
So the viewers.
We are seeing them clearly on
Okay.
our end.
Madam Chair, let me just see if it's my end. I don't know.
Hold on.
Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll go.
That's better, Mr.
I
Tackleton.
just know what this do
Oh
here.
my God. Madam Chair, I apologize. 1 second. Yes. Okay, good. Yes, I have it.
First, come on.
Right.
I don't have the
Mr. Mohan.
instruction with you, but could you all keep the crosstalk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Mohan. Yes, Madam Chair, of course. Mr. Mohan, your job was to evaluate the evaluation committee's assessment, correct?
To review it.
To review the report, correct?
Correct.
Where's the report?
Sorry,
Where's the report that you evaluated?
the report would have been submitted to the procurement manager.
Oh, I see. So you had a report in your hand, which physically came from the evaluation committee, yes?
That's correct.
And you submitted it to your boss. I assume what you call him, the manager?
The manager of procurement, that's a separate department.
Right. What's his name?
Mr. Curtis Doyle.
Mr. Curtis Doyle, right. Where is that report now? Do you have that report?
No, I would not have the report. The report is submitted to the procurement department.
Right. And there was a second report that was generated in relation to challenge proceedings, correct?
I'm not aware of a second report.
You're not aware of a second report. All right. So the first report, your witness statement tries to summarize that report, I assume.
My witness statement is my assessment of the report.
Your witness statement is your assessment of the evaluation committee's report, correct?
Correct.
So you didn't see it when you prepared this witness statement, you understood that you were giving information to the committee, correct?
Right.
The tribunal, yes. And you wanted to provide all relevant information to the tribunal, correct?
Correct.
Because you want them to evaluate this tender or evaluate this process fairly, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And you would have tried to submit all relevant information? Yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Including documents?
Well, I would have provided my assessment of the report, the
Right.
process I would have gone through, and the findings that I had.
Right, but
So
if you are assessing a report and giving a witness statement, shouldn't you have attached the report?
Well, I believe the witness statement outlines the findings of the report, or at least my findings of the report.
It does not reproduce the report, is that correct?
It's not the intent to reproduce the report.
Not the intent. So there's a document floating around called a report of the evaluation committee that we don't have, or that it's not anywhere in NIPDEC documents, correct?
Well, I can't speak to that. I can only speak to what is in my witness statement.
Hold on. No, Mr. Mohan, you are giving evidence on behalf of NIPDEC today, correct?
Correct.
Are you saying you're not aware of all the documents in these proceedings?
I'm aware of what was presented to me, yes.
Okay, that's a different question. You are aware of what was presented to you, correct?
Correct.
But what about all of the documents that are relevant to these challenge proceedings? Did you try to identify the relevant document to these challenge proceedings and produce it to the committee?
So please rephrase the question.
When you were doing your witness statement, Did you volunteer to give this witness statement, or were you instructed to give this witness statement?
As part of the process, I would have reviewed the document, so witness statement was produced on that basis.
Not exactly the question I asked, but I'll move on, right? So when you were doing that process, did you conduct an exercise to get all of the relevant documents in this matter?
So I would have looked at the documents that I needed to look at for the evaluation review.
Right. Is that a relevant document?
Sorry, the
Was
report.
that a relevant document? The report of the evaluation committee, that was a relevant document?
Yes, that was a relevant document.
Did you submit it for it to be disclosed in these challenge proceedings?
No, I didn't see it necessary.
You didn't see it necessary. So you're depriving the committee of the report of the evaluation committee. You're depriving this tribunal of the report of the evaluation committee. Is that correct?
If that is what it appears as,
when you
the tribunal, that is. Did you approve
the reply? Did you approve the reply in this matter? Oh, sorry, it froze up a bit there, Madam Chair.
Mr. Tackler, stay 1 minute, please. Your friend has his hand up. Mr. Baliram.
Madam Chair, I think Mr. Tackler Singh is moving a bit fast. He has to allow the witness to complete his answer.
Yes. So, Mr. Tackler Singh.
I accept.
I know you're caught up in your cross-examination, but just give the witness a bit of a time to respond.
I accept. And maybe I'll just rephrase that question and slow it down. It's just that I only have 25 minutes. So, but anyway, let's move on.
Of your weekend.
Yes. So of the relevant, you accept, yes or no, you accept that the evaluation committee report is a relevant document, yes?
Yes, it is.
But you have not submitted it for this tribunal's consideration, correct?
That it did not form part of my witness statement.
Does not form part. There was a reply in this. Are you familiar with the Procurement Act? I mean, you're in the procurement section, so you would have looked at the Procurement Act, correct?
Correct, yes.
And you know that the Act speaks about something called a procurement record?
I'm vaguely familiar with it, yes.
Right. And it also talks about the relevant documents for procurement record. Yes?
Okay.
And you understand that when a challenge proceeding is filed, you have to file a reply, correct?
Correct, yes.
And that you have to attach all relevant documents in your reply, correct?
Correct, yes.
Did you settle the reply in this matter?
No, I did not.
Oh, wait, so you have not seen the reply in this matter?
I have seen the documents, yes.
No. There's a specific document, not tender document, but there's a specific document to these proceedings called a reply. Did you see that document? Get a reply for me.
I can't recall if I saw a document or not. Perhaps if you present it, I'll be able to confirm.
Nothing. Would you like us to show the witness the reply?
Yes, please, Madam Chair.
1 minute.
If you could go down a bit, perhaps the paragraph 2 and 3, which is 360 and 361, which is the main content. Mr. Mohan, you saw this document?
I believe I did, yes.
You believe you did or you did?
The information looks very familiar. So
okay, so that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking about the information. This is a specific document. So can you recall either settling this document or approving of this document?
No, I did not approve this document.
You did
This
not
was
approve this document. Who is Mr.
Yes,
Viaz Ramphali?
Sorry, Vyas Ramphali is the general manager of NIPDEC.
He's the general manager of NIPDEC. Did you submit a report to Mr. Ramphali?
No, that's not part of my responsibility under this evaluation process.
Right. So so let me just get the chain correct, right? An evaluation report came from Pure to NIPDEC, correct?
Came from the evaluation team
Right.
to NIPDEC.
To NIPDEC. Good. You looked at that report, right? And you created another report, I assume, assessing that, correct?
No, sir. My report, my involvement is once the evaluation report is completed by the evaluation committee,
Right.
a memo is prepared to submit to the manager of procurement for it to go through the approval process.
Right. So you submitted a memo.
My involvement is to countersign the memo that goes to the manager of procurement. As part of that, I do have a responsibility to review the document to ensure that it's complete, that the process was followed, and so on. So that's my involvement in the process.
Right. So you didn't. Your involvement here is not that you analyzed carefully the recommendations and the criticisms and compared it with the documents, etc. You didn't do that.
Of course, I did. As part of my due diligence process, I will examine the documents, ensure that it complies with the RFP, it complies, and it reflects correctly the bid documents submitted.
And you would have done so you would have had to compare the evaluation report, which we don't have, against all of the tenders that were submitted by the 9 or 10 tenderers in this matter, correct?
Correct.
Right. So when you did all of that comparison, all of the line item comparison, you didn't create any document?
No, it was more along the lines of verifying that the information that was presented reflects the information, information in the evaluation report reflects.
So you analyzed it and you took a mental note of everything?
Pretty much, yes.
Right. And then from that mental note, you prepared this witness statement?
Well, I would have to refer back to the documents to ensure that the witness statement is correct.
Which documents? The evaluation committee document or your independent assessment?
All of the documents, the RFP, the bids, the evaluation report.
Okay, but the commentary you give, meaning the criticisms that you give in your witness statement. Hold on, let me get it. Yeah. Right. At paragraph 10, and this is just for clarity of your witness statement, right? I'm going to read it. No need to show it. On review of the report in question, so that I assume is the evaluation report, the following will highlight, well, the following, Madam Chair, perhaps we should show paragraph 10 of the witness statement, page 945.
Sure, give us a minute.
Yes, no problem, Madam Chair.
The page number again, Mr. Valsayn.
945.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Right. At paragraph 10, on review of the report in question, the following were highlighted the following. Now, I assume that's a grammatical error, but are you saying that everything from 10 all the way to 11 was simply lifted from this report? Or are you saying that is what you got from that report?
So, as I said before, the preparation of the witness statement, I would have referred to the RFP, the bid submitted, as well as the report.
Okay, so this is your comment, not the evaluation comment. That Patrick Gordon, let's take for example, at page 946, Patrick Gordon. It says the firm failed to achieve the minimum score for the technical approach. That is your assessment, or are you getting that from the report?
So can that be,
Madam Chair, I do think that page is before the witness right now.
That's okay. Yeah, we get it.
Yes, Mr. Baliram. So let's get the page before the witness, before you proceed, Mr. Valsayn.
Indeed, madam.
946.
946.
Is this phone up right?
Yeah, Madam Chair, we can leave it right there.
1 minute.
That's fine.
Just go up the I. There's some V, just go straight up. Go down a little bit.
Yes, so we can leave it there, Madam Chair. It's just by way of example. So this comment, the firm Jeremy Joseph Construction Company failed to demonstrate experience in the type of works. Is that your assessment? You assess that they failed to demonstrate the type of work, or are you saying that you took this from that evaluation report?
so I would have taken the content from the evaluation report and cross-reference it from the proposals that were submitted.
And right, so when you cross-reference the findings to Mr. Jeremy's proposals, did you make a note of your findings?
And you're talking about in the context of the review before it goes to the manager procurement?
Yes. Did you make a note? How would you be able to remember to send this report on?
So at that point, I would just do the confirmation and send it forward. I did not see it necessary to take copious notes at that point.
Okay, good. And when did you do this witness statement? 3 days ago, 4 days ago?
The date is in the document itself.
A few days ago, you did this witness statement, right?
Correct.
You prepared all of these comments just based on your mental note?
No, sir. As I said, in preparation of, I said this before, in preparation of the witness statement, I would have referred back to the RFP, the proposals, and the evaluation report.
And evaluation. So the only way to assess whether what you say here, or one way to assess what you say here is accurate, is to compare your witness statement to this evaluation report, correct?
As well as the RFP and the...
As well as the RFP, but the evaluation report as well, correct?
Correct.
Yes, which we don't have.
No question.
Yes. Madam Chair, how much time do I have again?
1 minute. Let me check. 1 minute. Let me check the technical team.
Madam Chair, I'm just reviewing my notes to see if I have any questions.
It's about 2 minutes.
Quickly, Mr. Mohan. There is a broad criteria stated in the 10 solicitation documents with respect to technical proposals. You agree with that?
Broad in what sense?
There's a broad criteria under methodology. It basically says provide technical proposals about your understanding. You understand that? You remember that?
If I recall, it was specific to a detailed technical proposal, detailed methodology.
Okay. In that paragraph, in that description, did it talk about TNTech polls or WASA poll? Did it explicitly mention those things?
Any criteria you're referring to?
Yes.
And you're specifically talking about the wording in that criteria?
Yes. Did it specifically mention those things?
No, it didn't.
It did not. And according to Ms. Bowen, scores were ascribed for certain sub-criteria, right? You saw that in the report?
Scores were ascribed based on their review of the bid submitted as compared to the requirements in the RFP, the scope, and so on.
Right. So, for instance, certain sub-criteria like demolition, removal of things, movement of poles, movement of washer lines were scores attributed to each one of those things or deducted for each one of those things. I'm asking a very specific question.
So can you repeat the question one time just for my clarity?
Were scores attributed to items such as moving of washer poles, moving of TNTEC poles, demolition, etc.? Were they attributed specifically or deducted specifically for those things?
Well, those items form part of the scope, and that was clearly.
So, was there a specific score for those items? Were specific scores allotted for those items, either deduct or give?
Yes, it would have been deducted.
Yes, it would have been. And therefore, there was sub-criteria which was used for which scores were allotted, correct?
Well, I can't speak to that. What I can speak to is the fact that.
But you just, but no, Mr. Mon, hold on. You just said that. You just said that. No, that's not an objection, Mr. Valsayn. Don't save your witness. That's not an objection.
Madam Chair, objection.
Mr. Takal, let's hear what is the basis of Mr. Valsayn's objection.
I would like to hear as well.
It remains the same objection as the previous questions. He's now not allowing the witness to answer. Or to complete.
He said no, and I said no. He said no, that's not true, and I'm referring it back to his previous question. It is well established that cross-examination has to be a flow. Mr. Valsayn can't object because he doesn't like the question.
Or the answer.
Okay?
But what Mr. Takal, what he's saying is to allow the witness to answer the question.
Okay, fair enough. So let me re-ask the question, and then let's try it again. Right?
Yes, please. Thank you,
There was sub-items, sub-criteria that the evaluators either allotted scores for or deducted scores for. Is that correct?
Right. So you're using the word criteria. What I'm saying is that there's a clear scope that the contractor, the bidder, is supposed to reflect in the record statement.
That's not the question I'm asking, Madam Chair. You have to answer my question, right? I'm asking a very specific question, unlike your tender documents, right? Were there sub-criteria for which scores were either allotted or deducted, such as movement of poles, movement of washer lines, demolition, etc.?
It was not defined in that detail in the RFP.
It's not defined in that detail, okay. Well, let's go in at a different view. Madam Chair, last question, just so we have that point very clear. Because it will form part of my submission. Could we be shown page 361? That's a reply that he may or may not have settled. 361 of the record. Yes.
Give us a minute.
Yes. Madam Chair, I just have the same question, but I just need to put 3 or 4 documents there, and that will be end of cross-examination. I promise. So page,
of course.
Page 361. Mr. Valsayn will make a good bouncer. 361. Right. So you see these sub-items between A to U, right? Were specific scores allotted for these things or deducted? Did you see like a list or a schedule for these criteria, allotting or deducting?
Not in the evaluation report, sir.
Not in the not in the evaluation report. So you are now, sorry, so you are saying that was not in the evaluation report. Okay, good. Now, in terms of those same items that I asked you, I'll take 3. WASA, TNTEC, demolition, right? At page 388. of the solicitation documents, there's something called scope of works. (388). Right. Those three things I spoke about: movement of TNTEC poles, movement of WASA line, movement of well, it has demolition, movement of TNTEC poles, movement of WASA line. Is that mentioned in any scope of works?
Well, this is just an abridged version of the scope of works.
I'm not asking for your comments as what is a scope of works. Was it mentioned in the scope of works? Yes or no?
In this list at 1.1, that is not mentioned there.
Good, because, right, so we're moving on. Page 399. Right there. Right there, madam. Yes, that's fine, Madam Chair. 399, technical approach methodology, where you're supposed to give the detailed technical approach. You may have to go up a bit, Madam Chair. Right, detailed technical approach methodology. Movement of WASA line, TNTEC, which is called critical and which was our main criticism level about my client. Is it mentioned there specifically?
It is not mentioned specifically at item 3.1.
Okay, good. Final document. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Actually, I apologize. Just one further document to show, and that is it. My tab seems to have fallen out, so I'll ask both Mr. Baliram. Yes, I'll ask for Mr. Baliram's patience. Page 447, part of the solicitation documents. The document entitled Brief Description of Works. I assume, sorry, let's get the document. Brief Description of Works, part of the solicitation documents. Correct?
Correct.
Meant to tell the contractor what he should put in his tender, correct?
Submission.
In his submission, correct?
What he needs to consider in his method statement, correct?
This is meant to inform him, correct? And this is part of his solicitation documents, correct?
Correct.
In this, is there movement of WASA, movement of TNTEC?
Well, that is incidental, but no, it's not there.
It's not there, whether it's incidental or it's not there, correct?
Correct.
And in any of the documents I've shown you, or in any document you want to show me, Mr. Mohan, could a contractor find where he would win scores, win points, or lose points for not particularizing that he moved WASA lines, that he had to move WASA line, move TNTEC lines, etc.? Is there any document like that?
Certainly, I can say that in the BOQ referred to the
points, Mr. Mohan. BOQ is
yeah,
for price. Where would he know what points will he be ascribed by the evaluation committee for detailing those things or not detailing those things?
So if you allow me to answer.
Yes, please.
The BOQ, the minutes of the pre-submission briefing would have clearly identified these items as works, specific items. And a reasonably experienced contractor should note that those things are important to detail in their methodology.
Okay,
so
good.
Even stated here, it would have been stated in those additional documents which form part of the solicitation documents.
No problem, Mr. Mohan. No problem, Mr. Mohan. You gave an answer. You gave this answer under oath, right? Under oath. I'm going to take you to the BOQ documents. I want you to show me under oath, which is your last statement, where points are ascribed for awards and evaluation. And in the pretender meeting. Would you be able to do that?
To specifically show points that...
Yes, that's the question I asked you.
That will not appear there, sir.
Thank you. And that's the answer I wanted. Much obliged, Madam Chair. No more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Tackles. I'm now about to ask if there are any more questions. Re-examination. Mr.
No re-examination, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Akash Mohan, you are relieved.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's now about 3:17. Parties will, if they like, they can make closing submissions, or you can submit in conjunction with the oral submissions, written submission.
Madam Chair, I don't know what is Mr. Baliram's preference. I will do what he thinks we could consult. I don't know. I could do either.
Madam Chair,
Also, you could just do some writing by 12 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay, before we get into that, I actually do have one other thing. Based on what emerged in today's cross-examination, I am going to make an order for the respondent to produce by 7 p.m. tonight to file. And this order is being made pursuant to challenge rule 14.4 of the challenge proceedings rules for the respondent to file the evaluation report.
indeed, Madam Chair.
Right? So, Mr. Tackler, saying before you ask, we will have no further cross-examination on the report. You all can address it in the submissions.
But Madam Chair, I was about to say that perhaps then I would like to go after I see the report.
Right. So we want the report filed by 7 p.m. tonight, and parties have until close of business tomorrow to file submissions. Yes, Mr. Tackler.
Not an objection, ma'am, but one of the witnesses said reports. So it should be evaluation reports, just
Yes,
to cover. Yes.
Yes, please. So pursuant to Regulation 14.4 of the challenge proceedings rules, the respondent is hereby ordered to file all evaluation reports by 7 p.m. this evening.
Indeed, Madam Chair.
Parties are ordered to file closing submissions by tomorrow, the 16th of October, 2024.
That much obliged. At 4 p.m., Madam Chair?
Yes, please, Mr. Tackler. At this point, we will, we'd like to thank all the parties and their representatives and their witnesses for their participation. As you all know, we have to give a decision by Friday, so we expect to have the submissions on time tomorrow. Any further concerns or questions from any of the parties?
No, Madam Chair, I just as a housekeeping, I filed some extra authorities today. I think you may have received it. I know yes, my friend served me 2 extra authorities. I don't know if he filed it, but just so that we have one bundle of authorities to work from, because when we do the submission, we want to be referring to the same things.
Yeah, so I got Mr. Tack. We got the applicant's authorities, but we did not receive the respondent's authorities.
That would be filed, Madam Chair. That was sent to my friend. I intended to rely on it in closing, yes, but now given the opportunity, it will be filed.
Yeah, so ideally, can you all compile all your authorities in one document for your closing submissions?
Yeah, yes, Madam Chair. I could do that on my part.
Thank you very much.
Much of it. Madam Chair,
would that be fine with you? Mr.
On behalf of my team and client, I wish to thank the tribunal for sitting and assessing their challenge proceedings. Much obliged.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tackler. Any concerns, Mr. Baliram?
No, Madam Chair.
And you're fine with filing all the authorities in one bundle as well?
Indeed, Madam Chair.
Right, so we look out for the filing later this afternoon as well as the filing tomorrow. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much again.